Hey everybody, welcome to another drive-through digital playthrough. Today we're going to go through The Witcher, which is just released over the holidays. And this is a representation of the Witcher adventure game, the board game, which is based on the video game, which is also has some different novels and things that go with it. So what you do in the Witcher adventure game, it's a competitive game. You play as one of four possible characters and it's competitive. You're moving around, sort of solving mysteries based on decks that are sort of tailor-made to your character, as well as each character has a upgrade deck, a development deck that they have access to that's different for each character. So each character has the same type of abilities. You're going to be, traveling around, solving mysteries, doing combat, all kinds of things, and all the actions that each player gets is the same, but they're individualized by their development decks. So just a quick look at the app here. There is a tutorial. These are video tutorials. I believe these are ripped right out of the Fantasy Flight tutorials. So it's the same narrator anyway. So you can go through here and watch these. It's pretty good. It gives you a good idea of the game. The rules themselves are pretty nice. They are easy to go and index and look for what the different things are in the game. There's not a lot of options and graphics for this particular game, but we'll go ahead and just start an offline game. And for some reason, I cannot stand playing Geralt. For some reason, it seems very straightforward and sort of not a lot to really think about. Dandelion is interesting because he goes and plays shows. He's a bard, so he generates money through his shows. Triss is more of a magic user. She has different spells. And then Yarpen is a dwarf who has a little sort of companionship or group of dwarves that he can sort of call on every turn to play the game. So I probably played Yarpen the most. I seem to like him the best. So I'm probably just going to go ahead and play him. And I think Dandelion, actually, the AI is broken on that because every time I play against Dandelion, I destroy him like 50 points to 12 points. So last time I actually played against Geralt, so I'm going to set him there as the computer player. We'll deactivate Triss and Dandelion there. And you can see here you can select the number of quests to complete. So you can do 1, 3, or 5. So I think just for this playthrough, I'm going to do one quest. I typically like to do 3. You can see the minutes; it's 40 to 70 minutes. That's fine, but this is going to give us enough of a to look at to give us a good idea how the game's going to work. So we'll just leave that. So I'm going to be Yarpen, and we're just going to complete one quest. So Yarpen actually gets to choose the quest decks that he chooses from, but Geralt's going first. Now, the first flaw with this game, at least playing against the AI, is you can largely ignore the AI's turn for the most part, it seems like. So he's basically done a development. You can see he just added a development card to his stack, and now he's taking an action to travel. So you get 2 actions on your turn, and you can't repeat the same action twice. So he did a development, and then he traveled, and then he had an encounter here, which we just saw. So now it's my turn, and so he has 2 different quest decks. You can see the red deck is a little bit more combat oriented, and I would say the purple deck is a little bit more sort of, I don't know, generically oriented, but let's go with the combat deck here. There's also could be a blue deck, which is kind of like magic oriented. And so you always draw 2 quest cards and then you get to choose one. So once I complete one of these quests, if we were playing like a 3 or 5 quest game, then I would draw 2 more at that point and then choose one of those. And there's other abilities and things that I'll let you score more points on quests and do different things related to drawing these quest cards. So you can see here, one is going rogue on the left, one is the road of no return. If you look over, on the right-hand side, you can see each of these is worth 8 points once you complete the quest. The main idea here is you have 2 sort of red goals or red clues that you need to find. And these are gotten by getting different investigation tokens, in this case red investigation tokens. And then you have a location where you need to go and kind of turn these in. So you can see here, let's say we did the Road of No Return. The ancient forests of the West have always hidden more than their share of dangers, but recently a renegade mage has summoned a foul creature and is using it to attack travelers. So the idea, if you haven't played the video game, you go through and sort of piece together clues, and there's a sort of a main quest sometimes of like some group that's terrorizing the countryside or has attacked the Witchers, and sort of gone to war with the Witchers in some senses. And there's a bunch of side quests always in the video game as well. And so you go through and piece up clues, and then you have this really horrible combat. I'm sorry to say, I don't really enjoy the combat in the video games, but I've always enjoyed the Witcher world, and it's a really cool and interesting idea with these guys kind of buffing up themselves almost like mutants with different potions and things. So it's an interesting kind of dark and gritty, sort of low fantasy kind of world. So the other thing to look at here is, let's say we were doing the Road of No Return. We'd go to that location once we've collected enough clues, and then we'd have some kind of combat encounter. Now, from what I've seen, there's no combat encounter where you get to the point and then you fail your quest. It's always some little extra bonus, or you just try not to fail the encounter once you've completed the quest. You're still going to get the victory points and get all the good stuff. Now you can see here are the side quests. So again, on the Road of No Return on the right-hand side, you've got 2 side quests. I believe all the quests have 2 side quests. So these are things you kind of do along the way, on the way to your main goal. And then there's a support, which is what other players can do to kind of leech victory points off of your quest. So in this case, you need help calming down tensions in the area. Spend 3 purple investigation tokens, and you get 3 points. So somebody else can actually do that. And then the consequences down here at the bottom, it gives you a little bit of a bonus above and beyond getting victory points. So sometimes you get like a wound, or this one actually says draw 1 good fortune card and place a silver monster token in your region. So I'm just going to take a look at these, and I'm going to go ahead and choose the one on the right here. Oh, so now here's a player interaction. It's a little bit asynchronous. So something Geralt did on his turn is going to cause me to suffer a wound. So normally if you were playing in the tabletop, you would just do this, whenever it happened. So now I've received the wound, I've got to do something with a wound. So this tells us how wounds work. Well, the interesting thing about Yarpen here is he has 2 extra wound slots. You can see I took that wound next to him. None of the other characters have those 2 wound slots. Normally when you take wounds, you actually cover up one of the 6 actions that you see there. And funnily enough, if we take a look here, we can look at Yarpen's information. It tells you a little bit about him. His special action is a command. Each of the 4 characters has a different special action. These are usually ways that you activate your skills in your development. So everybody has kind of a different way of accessing these. And over on the left-hand side, you can see a special skill, 2 additional wound slots on the character sheet. And you see here in the middle, resource change rates. So you can see the number of investigation tokens to give you these sort of final clues. So if you remember, I need 2 of these battle clues. And my exchange rate, Yarpen's basically the same across all of these, is 5 tokens for each of the clues. And you can also see he has 2 quest decks to choose from. He starts with 3 gold. And the dice that he rolls in different encounters, these will be considered a success. Interestingly enough, his starting location, Mahakam, which I wasn't even paying attention to, is actually where we need to go for the side quest. So bam, we've already got our 3 victory points. You can see the victory points down here on the lower left. And you can also see Geralt's up on the top. You can actually click on him. You can see the number of victory points he has, the number of main quests that he's completed. So what do we want to do? We want to move around. We want to do some developments. Now, early on, you always want to develop. So I'll hit develop. Develop is the same for everybody. You draw 2 cards from your personal development deck, and you choose one. You discard one and choose one. So it's an interesting, real simple way of going through a tech tree in a way and saying, okay, well, this one is good, and this one is also good, but I kind of need this one over this one. It's just a very basic choice. So on the left-hand side, you can see once per turn, you may spend 1 of these things. I'm not sure what it's called. 1 kind of activation token from this card to look at the top 2 cards of the Foul Fate deck. Sometimes you'll encounter different Foul Fates. And so we can reorder that deck to our pleasing. On the right-hand side, once per battle, you may spend an activation token from this card to produce 2 swords. These swords are used for attack. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. You can see these have a 0 here in the lower right-hand corner. We're going to take actions to put activation tokens on this so we can use these. This is going to help us basically mitigate our dice rolls in combat. So we've done that. So we've done develop. You see develop is now X'd out, and we can no longer do it for this turn. So one thing you can do is simply travel, and that's basically moving 1 space. Now if you wanted to fast travel, you actually move up to 2 spaces away. But if you look at that fast travel icon, you can see there's a little foul fate marker on there. So every time you fast travel, you're going to have some kind of consequence that's going to be not usually not very good for you. So what are our other quests here? Let's see. Learn some counter magic. We can spend 4 blue investigation tokens to get 5 victory points. We've got to do that before we finish our quest. So what we can do here is you can see if we move to these different areas here, you can zoom in there. You can see those have some red investigation tokens. We have some blue / purple ones up here. There's some purples there. So just by moving to a spot, let's go ahead and just move over here. We're going to say, okay, in this region, you can see here is the foul fate markers. You can also kind of see there, that little 0 there, that tells you the number of monster tokens that are there. There's no monster tokens there. So we're going to move there. We're going to instantly get a red token just for moving there. So that's one way to get tokens is just by moving around. So I'll go ahead and resolve my turn. There's other ways to get tokens here. So now we had to resolve a foul fate that was there. So we have to suffer 2 foul fate tokens. So we'll see how that works. So we get 2 of these. We have to actually place these on these actions. And so you actually cover up your actions with wounds, with foul fates, so that they either hinder you from doing them, or in this case, when we put a foul fate on there, every time we do it, we've got to discard that token, and then something bad is going to happen. So I'm going to put one on rest, because I don't plan on doing rest for a while. And I'm going to put one on fast travel. So that's going to double up the foul fate tokens, but I don't plan on needing any fast travel for a while. So we'll end our turn. Geralt's going to take his turn. So he's going to travel. That's his first action. So he's going to get a choice of a token in that case. Looks like he chose a purple token. And he's doing an investigation. An investigation is a way to get more of those investigation tokens and get to the clues a little quicker. So he's having an encounter here with the cockatrice, and it does the computer's rolls pretty quickly. So on my turn, I'm going to go ahead and develop, because personally I like to get a lot of development happening early on. And let's see, this is once per battle you may spend an activation from this card to get 2 swords or 1 shield, and the other one is you can spend an activation to get 1 sword and 1 shield. That's an interesting choice. I will say let's go ahead and get the 1 and 1. Sometimes it's good to have. And I'll explain why I chose that when I have an encounter. So we can take a look at our cards here. So we can see each of these cards, we have the 2 swords on the right and the sword and the shield on the left, but they aren't going to do anything with the dwarf here. He always has to put activation tokens on his cards. Not everybody has to necessarily do that. Triss has to do that, I think, on all her cards. Maybe not all of them. And Geralt doesn't necessarily have to. So they do work a little bit differently. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do command for the dwarf. So this will give him access to 2 of his 4 dwarves that he can use. So you can see here's the different dwarves that you can do. So a couple things here. Let's say I will activate, I'm going to do this, Regan and Javier. Okay, so we're going to activate these 2. And you can do these once per turn, just like any of your other actions. So this is going to allow me to place 1 activation token on 2 of my cards. And it went ahead and did that for me. And the second dwarf there gave me a gold piece. That's the one nice thing about the app, is if there's really no choice to be made, it just makes it for you. So since I only had 2 cards and you're supposed to put an activation on 2 cards, it went ahead and did it. So now we're going to resolve. There's nobody here. So when there's nobody here, it actually activates the war track, which is this little wheel that it sort of moves around. And in this case, you can see it went ahead and put a monster token there. So if I sit here again, I will have to deal with that. So now Geralt's going to go. And it's very much a race game here. So you can see he chose Brew. I don't know if you noticed that, but that actually is his way of activating certain cards. He's got potion cards versus some other style of cards that he's got. And that's his thing. Again, he's sort of like a mutant driven by these potions that he can do. Okay, so I am development crazy, so I'm just going to do another development. I like to get like 3 or 4 or 5 cards going and moving along and then activating. So the thing is, I was talking about just a second ago, is a race game. So I'm spending all this time racing and getting developments up to help mitigate my dice rolls for later. Let's say on the left, when you perform a command action, you may spend an action token from this card to use an additional companion. You may use the same companion twice. Okay. That seems kind of cool, but I don't think I'm going to do that for this. On the right-hand side, once per battle, you may spend one action token from this card to get one sword and two shields. So I think that kind of actually balances nicely. Because now you can see on the left-hand side, I get a short sword and two shields, sword and a shield, and then two swords. So I've got sort of the gamut, if you will. And now I'm going to do another command. Oh, sorry, this is a little boring at the beginning because I'm just hugely about mitigation. So we're going to activate this. And then you see now Poly's activated because I can move a monster off. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get another gold because gold does come in handy for certain things. So we're going to place that, and we're going to get a choice now, right? So I don't have any on this card, so I'll activate that card. And, well, let's do this one here. It gives me two swords because I'm probably going to have combat here. So I get a gold piece. So I'm up to 5. And now I'm going to resolve this monster that I'm on. Okay, it looks like it's a bronze monster. So you can see on the left-hand side, I need this much attack to defeat him. And then I want to have this much defense to sort of stave off his side of the attack. You can see if I'm successful with the offensive part of the attack, I can remove 1 wound from my hero sheet, which it doesn't look like I have any. And if I fail the defensive, I'm going to suffer a wound. So we're going to do this. And so now we have the opportunity to roll dice. Sometimes these development cards, you can do something before you roll the dice. All of mine happen after the dice roll. So we're going to go ahead and click that. And so we got, looks like enough swords. So I've got 2 swords. And you can see I have a special ability here with this glowing dice. You can always change a sword into a shield. I don't know that I want to necessarily do that. I might just do that. See, I could go ahead. Here's the interesting thing about the game, is it's sort of mitigating not only your luck through the different development cards, but also going, okay, what am I going to try later? Right now, it's telling me this is a very simple decision. I can remove a wound. I don't have any wounds if I succeed in the attack. So I'm only really worried about getting another wound from losing defense. If I wanted to go here, I could activate these, generate some more dice and some more icons to do things. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to worry about staving off the defense. I don't care about getting the attack because he's not going to give me any victory points or anything if I beat him. So I'm just going to go ahead and end that. So nothing bad happens to me, but nothing good. So that's okay. Now Geralt's going to go. What's he going to do? So his first action was to move. So he got a token there. He's already up to, you can see, 1 actual clue token as opposed to the investigation token. His conversion rate is really good for these combat-oriented clue tokens. And you can actually see he needs 2 of these combat tokens, combat clue tokens for his quest. So he may end up beating me here. And so he failed there. And I should probably look at his support as well. I think I can actually do that. Let's see. So I'm going to take a look at what his support quest is. A donation to the dwarf's allies would set back whatever his name is considerably. Spend 3 money. I've only got 1 money, so. Oh no, I've got more than that. I've got 5 money. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is, well, let's do an investigation. So now I need red, so I'm going to do red. So my task now, so this is actually going to sit with me until I complete the task. Sometimes you'll have an encounter right away when you draw this card, but this is defeat a silver monster. In bronze, silver, and gold is just like the difficulty of the monster. Once I do that, I'll receive 2 victory points, and I'll get a red investigation token. So I need to go and find, let's see, this is a bronze. Yeah, that's a bronze one. So I don't see any silvers out here. Is this silver? Nope. I've already investigated. Let's travel back over here. And there's a bronze there. So that's going to give me another investigation token. I'm going to resolve. And, oh, I can draw. I got a bear again. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and roll the dice here. See, we got enough defense. That's all I really care about. So we got this and this. I'll just get rid of these. Okay, so sort of anticlimactic there, but that's okay. So I can sit here. I'll probably do an investigation again next turn. So he's going to travel. Oh, he did a fast travel. So he's going to have to do an encounter. Nothing happens. Good for him. And his next action is to... Looks like he did a development. Okay. And he's got to deal with the siren. Let's see what he gets there. He's got that double sword there. So he failed the attack, but was successful on the defense, so he's okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do another investigate here. We'll go ahead and attack the red combat deck. Very simple. I receive a red clue token. Roll your hero die. If you obtain a success, draw 3 development cards, choose one, and keep the others. Alright, that's cool. So we'll go ahead and roll a die. And that is not a success. So, oh well. So we did get our token. And let me think here. How many command tokens? I've only got 1 on those 2, so I think I'm going to sit here, do a command, sort of upgrade these 2. So I'm going to say do this one and this one, so I can get some money. And then I'm going to put 2 tokens on these 2, since I only have 1 token on those. And I would get my money. And I'm close to Geralt, so that's kind of good. So I'm going to resolve the monster, or the bear. And let's see, we are going to go ahead and roll our dice. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them now. So I've got these. Now I can activate. And one of these will give me 1 and 1. So I'm going to do this one here. So it adds another thing. So we've defeated him, now he's gone. And in my turn. So Geralt is going to go. What's he going to do? He's going to move over down to Duin Call. So he's kind of close to completing his quest because he needs to go to Brocleon, and he has a good conversion rate on the red clues. So let's see what he does. That's my turn. Uh-oh. Lose VP or suffer a... I'm not going to lose any victory points. So I'm going to suffer foul fate token. And I'm going to go ahead and put it on develop. I don't really want to develop right now. Okay, so I'm going to do another investigate. Again with red. I'll receive a red token, then you may become delayed to fight a battle. Okay, delay basically loses an action. So I'm going to fight an enemy. If I'm successful, I'll get a red and a blue. Do I want to be delayed for that? Sure. I'll go ahead and battle this guy. Alright, so I'm going to roll the dice. What do I need? So I've got 3. This will be fine. And I'm going to go ahead and activate, oh, let's see, this one here. That gives me a little too many swords, but that's okay. So now you can see I've got up to 1 actual clue token and 1 blue investigation token. I do have a side quest here. If I get a couple more blue tokens, I can spend that for another 5 VPs, which is going to be huge because we're only playing, for the 1 quest. Okay, so Foul Fate. The next time you would draw a Good Fortune card, do not draw it, and instead discard this. So normally you get Good Fortune cards when you complete a main quest. And those are pretty nice. They give you a nice little buff. Maybe you hold on to it and discard it for later. or it gives you sort of some extra ways to get tokens. So what's he doing? He's doing investigate, and it looked like he encountered a foul fate, and then as he turned this in already? Oh crap. So he's going to turn his quest in, it looks like. Yep, so he completed it. And now I basically have my turn to complete this quest. So I don't think I can do it, but that's okay. So you see he got a good fortune card for completing his main quest. And then, so he got his 8 VPs. I've got 3 VPs, so I've got it one turn here to, oh great, what's this? Oh, lose 2 VPs, great. Thanks for that. There's not too many of those. There's a couple of cards in here that are just like, okay, lose victory points. I mean, there was one card I got, it was like, lose 2 victory points, and then the player with the most victory points loses 2 victory points. So, that was nice. And now my game is locked up. Let's see if I can get back to it. That's the first time that's happened, actually. Okay, well, that's a bummer. Let's see if I can get back into it. That's probably lost my game. Well, that's unfortunate, but you can see there, that's basically how the game works. You kind of jump around. It's a little bit of a race. I probably spent a little too much time in this case because it was just a 1 quest race. But if you were doing the 3 quest race kind of thing, then that was probably a little bit better to build up some mitigation, because some of the encounters and things that you can deal with, you do need to have those extra mitigations. You can run into some of those gold uh, level monsters that are a little bit tougher. I mean, I can show you here. We'll do Geralt again, and then I'll turn these guys off, and I'll be Dandelion. I kind of like him. And so, just to kind of show you a different character, I'm not going to play through more than a couple of turns here. So Geralt's going to go first. He's going to choose his quest. I'm very sorry about that crash. That's the first time that's happened, but I figured I'll leave it up on video instead of doing this all over again. Okay, so Dandelion now has the ability to sing. So I'm just going to choose a random quest here. I'm not going to think about it too much. So you can take a look at Dandelion's character. So he's got the 1 quest deck. You can see his purple conversion there is pretty good. It's 3 to 1, whereas the magic is 5 to 1 and this combat is 7 to 1. So he kind of steers away from necessarily, the physical encounter. All right, so we'll take a look here. So we'll just do a development. And so this one is you can spend money to place an activation on this card. During battle, you may spend the activations to get a shield. And then over on the right, we've got once per battle, you may spend one, I don't know what you call it, one of those symbols to produce 2. So that's a type of die roll you can do. So we'll go ahead and take this one on the left here, Vincent Mies. And then we can go ahead and sing here. And you use this thing to get 2 gold. That's all it does. So you use gold and the singing here to basically get those, and then you can spend those to put activations on. So we'll resolve that. We're going to go ahead and deal with the combat. And then you may spend up to 3 from any of your development cards without resolving its effect. For each one, you do not get a foul fate. Well, we don't have any. We just started the game. So we're going to get 3 foul fates. And just, I don't know, I'll put on rest and fast travel and investigate for now. So that's kind of a harsh turn. So I would say, just from a review perspective, I had a chance to play this quite a bit in beta, and this is definitely more fully fleshed out than in beta. I don't think they had any of the support cards or support activities on the quests. I think those will come into play more with a 4-player game, because there's some cards and things you can get where I get some victory points, you get some victory points. And there's a little bit more interaction and things. There's not any direct combat or anything, because they're all really good guys, and they really should be all on the kind of the same team to a degree. But so let's see here. Let's just investigate. And we'll do one of these purple cards. Receive a purple clue token, and go. And the task now is go to Dal Balfana, and the reward will be receive a blue token and draw a development card. So you can see, and I got to deal with the Foul Fate card because I remember I had to put that in there. Oh great, and I have to spend 2 of these. I only have 1. And then the cool thing is, if you see here, you can see down here, Macom, that's a side quest, and then here is the main quest, and then we can see the task here is Dalbathana. So it makes it very easy to see where everything is at on the game here. A couple other things maybe to show you is you can see here there's a sort of a log on the right hand side, so you can see, oh, that kind of went too fast, or if you're playing online you can see, oh, they did this and then they did this. So if you get really into it and you get to the point where you're really sort of counting cards, counting actions, and really making a race out of it, then this is going to be a nice reference there for that. So I think I'll go ahead and quit out of the game. This gives you a good sense of the game. Um, if anybody's still watching, this is something I have talked about on my channel before, of like doing Twitch broadcasts. So I think this would be pretty interesting, maybe, I don't know, to do this on Twitch. But I think this will give you a good sense of the game and how it works. And it basically is a race game. I've played this several times, like I said, and that's what it is. It's a very kind of even, medium, sort of casual race fantasy game. It's a very Talisman, Runeboundy kind of thing, but not a whole lot of rules, and it's not as brutal as Talisman or anything like that. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Thank you.